Hey guys, it's Lisa and welcome to my channel. Today's video is a little different because I'm working on a Christmas gift. I like to make my Christmas gifts, especially for my children now that they've gotten older. It's just so hard to come up with something for them. And I've had this box in my stash for some time, and because it's the raw wood, I can do just whatever I want to it. And I thought about leaving the inside unfinished, but I think that's a great opportunity to make this a custom piece and kind of bring the look from the inside to the outside. And I don't like this little latch thing on the top, so that has to go. Now, my daughter is very sentimental, and she's had some losses. One, of course, was my mother, and then her half-brother also. So she's got some things that she keeps of theirs, and I thought this would be a great little keepsake box. And this paper here is a tissue paper from Dixie Belle, and I've had it for some time and couldn't find what to use it on. But since my mother passed, my daughter is seeing butterflies a lot, and she kind of relates that. I know that there's something, just like there is with the cardinals, there's something about to do with butterflies and a loved one coming to visit. So she relates that to my mother, and so I just thought putting butterflies on this would be perfect. So this isn't the easiest thing to cover, but I just kind of took my time with it and covered this. One piece wasn't enough. I ended up having to cut some off, and that piece wasn't large enough to cover the sides, so I ended up using 2 sheets of this and then having quite a bit left over. Now, I just went ahead and covered this with it closed, and then I just took a little X-Acto knife and cut around so that it would open. I think all of you know how much I love crafting, and obviously, because you guys watch, you most likely do also. But when I'm crafting for a gift, I thoroughly enjoy it. So this was a fun little project. I like to just kind of keep adding little touches to make it better. And obviously, when you're crafting for resale, you can't spend that much time on it. Now, I should have done it before I covered the outside, but I had a really pretty spray paint that I just love the color of, and I think it's Peony is the color, and I forget the brand. I'll add that later in the description, but it's just a very, very, very soft pink, and it's a warm pink. So I covered the inside with that, and then and I had to tape that off in order to do it. What I should have done is spray paint the inside first and then do the decoupage, but I just had to tape it off very carefully and then take it outside and spray it. I sprayed down inside the box, and I sprayed the tray. And then I told you guys that I was going to be crackling everything. So yes, that's what I did on the inside of this. I first went over it with a thin coat of tacky glue. And then I let that dry, and then went over it with a polyacrylic. And then I let that dry. And that's what makes your cracks that you can't really see well at that time. But now I'm rubbing some Dixie dirt with a damp cloth over the top of it. And then that color settles down into the cracks and just adds so much more character. And because I have a lot of dark on the outside, having this type of finish on the inside just brought it together a lot better, I thought. The crackle finish wasn't that easy on the inside or on the round parts, but it it was worth it, I think. I think it added just the right amount of character that I needed. And I also did the crackle finish on the outside to bring that together even more. But what I did with it was I went over it with the tacky glue and let that dry. And then I went over it with the polyacrylic and let that dry. And again, that's what produces your cracks that you can't see at that time. And then because I didn't want to darken the outside anymore, I used a white wax over the top of that to settle down into those cracks, and it kind of had the reverse effect. The cracks then are lighter than the actual outside of the box. So here I am rubbing that tacky glue over the surface of the box, and as you can see, because this is round, it's not the easiest, but it does work. So I just spread it really thin, and I did that all over the box and then let that dry and then went over it with the polyacrylic. Now when you're brushing on that polyacrylic, you want to put a good heavy coat on it, and you want to minimize your strokes as little as possible, or as much as possible. So you want to keep your strokes in the same direction, but you want to try to just put one good coat on it, because if you stroke over the top of that, the more you do it, the less you're going to get cracks. And at this point, this is very dry, and you do want to make sure that your polyacrylic is very dry, and then you go over it with whatever you want to settle down into your cracks. So on the inside, I used the Dixie Dirt so that my cracks would be darker, and on the outside I'm doing the opposite. I'm using white wax, and then so the cracks then are white, as you can see here. And then I just rub off all the excess because I don't want to change up the color very much. So once I get that settled down into all those little cracks, then I just kind of keep buffing it off until I get the finish that I want. So now I have the lighter cracks on the outside and the darker cracks on the inside. I think that just kind of makes it cohesive. Now I don't want to add a latch back to this, but I do want some handles. So I had these little cast iron handles that I'm just going to put on here. And the good thing is I don't have to have very short screws because I have that little piece on the inside. As long as I line that up, then my screw heads won't come through. So now structurally I have this finished, and now I'm going to work on a hang tag for it. And I'm using a hard cardboard for my hang tag, and I'm going to use some of these leftover pieces from the tissue paper to cover both sides of this so that it will be cohesive with the box. And I know that there's pink on that one side, but I actually did that on purpose because there is a pink tinge to this paper, and I kind of wanted to add some little bits of pink here and there to kind of bring that together. So I just glue both of these on and then trim the excess off to make the base of my hang tag. And then once it dries, I do some extra trimming, and I even took my little finger sander and kind of sanded around the edges to neaten those up. Again, I want this box, or my intention is for her to use it for a keepsake box. Probably mostly memories from those that she's lost, but it could be used for any kind of memory box. This would be a good gift, I think, for someone who has a new baby to keep their keepsakes, and actually for anything. You could use a memory box for anything. Everybody can use one, actually. But I don't know if you guys are like me and you have such a hard time coming up with things, so I always fall back on personal things because they seem to never disappoint. I have some beautiful hang tags that I was going to show, but I left those at the shop and I'm doing my voiceover at home. So I will show those in my next video. I won't be showing any in this one. And I have a scripture stamp that I want to use on this one that's appropriate. So I'm going to add this to the back of the hang tag, and I thought that that was perfect for what I'm giving this to her for. And then I have that memory stamp. Here's some other scripture that I thought about using, but I ended up deciding on the first one. But so that this would show up good, I'm just using an old book page that didn't have any print on it. And I'll stamp these on and tear them out and then antique around the edges. So I'll put the memories on one side and then I'll put this scripture on the other. Now I may be doing some videos like this through the Christmas season as I see that I need to do some of my gifts. But I'll try not to do too many of those. But I do have to get some things made, and I just thought I may as well, since I'm having to spend so much time on this, I may as well make it a video. Now I thought about using wood here, and I could have, but this is a hard cardboard, so I think it's going to be sturdy enough. Now I'm adding some vintage ribbon and just kind of embellish it and keep it kind of simple. I want the memories to be the main focus on that side and the scripture on the other side. So I know that there's a lot going on this, but I wanted to add some things that were a little bit lighter to keep it from looking so dark. And I wanted also to add some texture. So I'm using this plaster. It's just it's like a joint compound actually. And I am just rubbing that over the top so that I have a raised design. Now I'm not being exact here. If I get off a little, and I actually do, I'm good with that because I just want some raised design, and again, I don't want it to be exact. I want it to kind of fade in and out in places. And I'm not going to cover the whole thing. And I know here that I didn't go all the way up to that edge. I actually put the stencil on the edge, and then that left that area at the side that isn't done. So once it dried, I went back and kind of added to that. Again, it didn't have to be perfect, but I did want to fill that space in. But I'm adding just a little to the top of this, and as you can see, it slid a little bit, but that's okay. It still worked out. I was still happy with how it looked, and that's the thing about this technique, is it doesn't have to be perfect at all. So I did a little bit of this one to the top of that side, and then I'm going to do a little bit of the other one on the bottom of the other side. And as you can see, I didn't do the whole design. I just did kind of parts of it. And here I am touching up where I missed the first time. Again, I know that's not perfect, but when you look at it as a whole, it was still a really good look. So now I'm going to use some pieces from the stamp set that my friend sent me called Reverie, and I'm just going to put a few pieces on here. I'm going to put the angel in this, or the angels in the center, and then there's a little some little pieces of the floral that look like corner pieces that I'm going to use on the tray. And I also have some floral vines that I'll use on the inside back area of the lid. You'll see where I'm talking about here in a minute. But I wanted to do some stamping on that because I ran out of paint, and didn't get that covered very well, as you can see there, and I wanted to kind of distract from that. I just didn't want to go out and buy a whole nother can when that's all that really I missed. And then here I am stamping that little those little flowers in the corner there, and I just do that on all corners, and I felt like that brought it together just enough. And somehow I missed the footage where I added that ribbon around the center of the trunk, and I actually didn't, I stopped it where the lid and the bottom meet so that it didn't hold it shut, if that makes sense. And then I added that knob to the front. Again, I missed that footage somehow. And I also took some gold gilding wax and kind of went around the edges and over the handles on the side. And I just really love how this turned out. I think it's perfect for my daughter. And I love just that hint of pink on the outside. So this color of pink on the inside was just perfect. Now, I thought about putting something in the center of that stamp with the angels, and I may go back and add something to that, but right now I'm unsure of what I want there. Now, I went to Marshall's and picked up just a plain journal, and I want to dress that up and kind of make it go along with this box, because I'm going to put it inside the box, and it will be a place where she can write her thoughts if she's missing them or wants to say something to them. Then she can just kind of journal that in this book. Now, I'm using a stamp here, a script stamp from the set I See Paris, and I'm so sorry, guys, but no one is able to find this stamp. It is discontinued, which I can't imagine why. I use this so much. But you could use script from any stamp. When you go on Amazon and you search script stamps, there are so many. So I'm just kind of adding some here, and I'm not gonna go crazy with this journal. I'm just gonna add enough to kind of bring it together because I do want to include this with the gift. And these transfers here are from the set Vintage Post from Dixie Belle, and I'm just going to use this little envelope here because I felt like it was appropriate. It kind of made me think of her writing letters to them, so I just thought it would be a nice little addition to this book. And this journal is like a faux leather, and believe it or not, these transfers go on it so easily. So this, I wasn't sure it was going to work. I don't think that I've ever tried to use transfers on this kind of material, but it worked out great. And I just kind of wrapped it around the back. Now I'm just going to add some other touches to kind of bring it together with the box. And one of the things it's going to need, of course, is a butterfly. So this same set has a butterfly on one of the transfers, so I'm going to be adding that. But for this one, I just wanted the butterfly, so I'm just going to cut that butterfly out very carefully and just put the butterfly on the front. And then I'm going to use some pieces of the stamp set Reverie that I used on the inside of the box and add it to this also. So I thought adding all those elements would kind of bring this together with the look of the box. I wanted to take some time and thank you guys again for watching. And thank you for all the very sweet comments that you make. I feel like I've made so many friends through this channel, and I'm just so grateful for all of you. If you're looking for an idea for a small gift, these little plain journals I think are so perfect for gifts for just about anyone. You can just dress them up to suit the person, and they're fun to do because you can just kind of keep adding to them. So once I added enough of these stamps, I felt like because this book is kind of a muted gray color, it kind of has the same look as the box, but that box had a lot of pink shading to it. So what I did was took some of my distress ink and kind of rubbed over that envelope in places. And I know that that's not a permanent ink. It may fade over time. It may not. It may, once it stays long enough, it may be permanent enough for just a journal. So if I were going to put it on something that was used a lot, or was exposed to any elements whatsoever, then I wouldn't have chanced that. But I felt like that subtle look of the antiquing ink on that envelope was just what it needed to keep it from being too stark white and to kind of bring it together with the box. And I love the look of it so much that I even took some of my regular antiquing ink and added a little bit of aging to the envelope as well. And then to complete the look and bring it together with the box even more, then I took some gold gilding wax and went around the edges and corners. And then on the area where I added the lace, where the snap is, I added a button there. But I do go back and change that and just added a very light pink rosette to add just a little bit more pink to this. And here it is when it had the button, but I changed that up. And there's a little bookmark in that, and I'm going to be making that bookmark as well. So I had this tag that I made from the Graphics Fairy. So you can just print these off free on the Graphics Fairy. And I cut that out and antiqued around the edges. But I'm going to use that because I printed it on cardstock, I'm going to use that as the base for my tag. Then I'm also layering some lace over some coffee stained tea towel and letting that be the back, and that will strengthen this tag because it is something that occasionally will be used, so I wanted to add some strength to it. And although I tore this tea towel in strips so that I would have the fraying that I really like, but where I have to cut it, anytime that I have to cut it, I just kind of take my nails and pull at it to get that fraying back. But I'm just kind of gluing layers here, and I'm just going to glue these with the lace and the cardstock, and then I think I add a butterfly to the top to kind of bring that together, and I put some more scripture on the back of this. And then she will be able to use this in the little journal, and it will just be kind of a whole gift set. So that's all that I'm doing in this video is just the box with the journal and the bookmark. And now I'm just adding some bits of lace for trim. And I'll take this same ribbon that I'm gluing to the bottom of this, and then I will glue it around the top, but I'll glue it in an arch with that card, and that will give the top of this tag more of an arch. Most of you are very familiar with how to make hang tags. This is just like making a hang tag. Again, I go back and add a butterfly to that to bring the butterfly element in. And I know that the angel has a Christmas tree beside it, but that's fine because this is a Christmas gift. Again, I know this is not like my regular videos, but I hope you haven't minded that I added my gift giving into my videos. Again, it may happen more than once. So here is everything finished, and I've got to mention that I added the gilding wax around the top of the tray inside. I just tried to find all the ways I could to kind of bring it together and make it more cohesive. And there is the little journal with the bookmark. And I think this just makes a really pretty gift set. And it's something completely different than you could get anywhere else. And I guess that's one of the main things that I like about putting things like this together is when you add all the elements, then you just can't replicate that. You can't find it anywhere else. And they've got something that is completely unique and original. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless you and your family.